Howdy, I'm Rex Hooper, and I love westerns. And they say that the measure of a great hero is the villain that they face off against. But who is the best of the bad? Who is the worst in the West? Who are the top 5 villains of all time?
He begged for his life before I shot him down. A span of 3 years laid dead on the ground.
In at number 5, for the best Western villains ever, is Johnny Ringo. Johnny Ringo is played by Michael Biehn in the 1993 Western hit Tombstone. Johnny Ringo is a great Western villain because he is the perfect foil, the perfect antagonist, the nemesis of Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday. He is intelligent, he's witty, and he's deadly.
What's it, Johnny? I hear he's real fast.
Johnny Ringo represents a nemesis-style villain, a yin to Doc Holliday's yang. Where Doc wears a grin, Johnny Ringo wears a grimace. He's compelling because he is equally matched to Doc Holliday. If heroes are what we aspire to be, then Johnny Ringo represents the fear of the dark side of what those abilities could bring.
In at number 4, Little Bill. Little Bill, played by Gene Hackman in the sensational Western Unforgiven. Little Bill, he is great because he's barely a villain at all. The sheriff of a small town. He's only villainous in his own methods towards his Western brand of justice. Little Bill and Gene Hackman's portrayal of him is great because he's affable and yet threatening at the same time. This is not a man you want to cross. And those that do cross Little Bill end up paying the price. A particularly satisfying moment in the movie is when monarch-loving dandy English Bob gets his hiney kicked right and thorough by Little Bill.
You been talking about the Queen again? On Independence Day?
Little Bill represents the kind of villain that is the dark side of who we are. He's on the side of law, after all. He's trying to do good. He's just doing about it the rough way. Maybe we would do the same, if only we had the guts.
In at number 3, Lee Van Cleef as Angel Eyes in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Lee Van Cleef plays the bad. And as bad as Clint Eastwood is in his search for gold, and as bad as Eli Wallach is as the ugly in his search for gold, Lee Van Cleef's Angel Eyes tops them all with his own high-octane evil. Great scene is the introduction of Angel Eyes in the movie, where, hired to kill a man, he not only kills him, he eats his dinner, and then kills his son too. Now that's bad.
Angel Eyes represents a psychopath evil. This guy, he does evil just because he enjoys it. He kills folk when he doesn't need to. It's terrifying to imagine someone whose only motivation for evil is the joy of the evil itself. And the terror of a psychopath is, well, they look like us. but they ain't like us.
In at number 2, the best villains in the West. Lee Marvin as Liberty Valance. In the movie, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Everything you call yours will be taken away.
Liberty Valance is a great villain because he's horrible. This guy is disgusting. A classic bully. He's even got his 2 henchmen with him, one of which is Lee Van Cleef. You know, bullies, ganging up. He's just awful. Everything's a joke to him. Throwing his weight around. He has the whole town under his spell. No one could do anything about it. Or maybe one man can. The man who shot Liberty Valance.
Liberty Valance represents a kind of pure evil. A pure villain. This guy is detestable. He's horrid. We don't recognize any of ourselves, hopefully, in Liberty Valance. He's the boogeyman. He's the devil. He is the monster under the bed.
Especially after all the lying things I hear folks been saying about Liberty Valance. Looking at the new waitress.
That's my steak, Valance.
You heard him, dude. Pick it up.
Let's do a recap, a rundown of our top 5 villains in westerns. At number 5, we have Johnny Ringo in Tombstone. At number 4, we have Little Bill in Unforgiven. At number 3, we have Angel Eyes in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And at number 2, we have Liberty Valance in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and here it is, number 1, the greatest villain in all the West. Our number 1 spot goes to Henry Fonda as Frank in Once Upon a Time in the West. Our number 1 spot, the best of the bad, the greatest villain in the West, Henry Fonda as Frank in Once Upon a Time in the West. Henry Fonda was particularly compelling as a villain because most of us Western fans will know he mostly played protagonists, good guys, in the classic Westerns. But when the director Sergio Leone got him in to play the villain in Once Upon a Time in the West, he gives one of the greatest performances of his entire career. As villain Frank, he is particularly horrible. This guy is gunning down children. He's killing whole families and clearing people off their land. With those steely blue eyes of his, they mask a sinister darkness within. Henry Fonda, the greatest villain in all the West.
What makes Henry Fonda particularly terrifying in Once Upon a Time in the West is because he is relatable. He represents a kind of villain, a darkness from within ourselves. We see his motivations. We see that he is a human being as well. He's not some faceless monster. He's us.
If you've enjoyed this video, I suggest you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But tell me, who did I miss? Who are your favorite Western villains? Who do you think is the best of the bad? If you enjoy Western content and are looking for something new to listen to, then I suggest you check out my record, Frontera USA, available on the Spotify, on the Bandcamp, and wherever else you listen to music. Heck, maybe it could be the soundtrack of your next stagecoach robbery. Alright, I'll see you later on, cowpokes, further on down the trail.